Hey everybody, a quick reminder that later on today at noon, we are dropping our town hall info video. A link to it is in the description below. This is a video the leadership put together to give you a peek behind the scenes of everything that's going on here at the church. But most importantly, it's a chance for us to celebrate and give thanks for all the great stuff that has gone on over the past year, because there's a lot of it and we want you to get in on that. So please make sure that later on today or this week, you check out the video in the description. There is some information in there we really want you to have. Because later on this week, on May 19th at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, we are having a church-wide Zoom call. And this is a chance for us to connect, to ask some questions, and to pass on to you what we think our work is going to be as we head into whatever is next. Because we have a lot of questions and we have a lot of stuff to figure out, and we are hard at work trying to do our best to navigate it all, and we want to let you in on some of those conversations. So please put that in your calendars. Everybody is invited. A link to it is below. May 19th, that's a Wednesday, 7 p.m. on Zoom. We'd love to have you there as we be the church together and head out boldly and faithfully into whatever is next. Hey everybody, Nick here. As you might have heard, Colleen Micklethwaite, our amazing church administrator, retired this week. After 14 years with us at the church, she is moving out to the mountains to Kelowna to start a new chapter of her life. And we are so excited for her to do that. And we are so grateful for everything that she has done for us. I can certainly say after 8 years of working with her that we would not be where we are without her. Her love, her dedication, her care, her perseverance, giving us everything that she has, it's helped us be the church that we are. And I know so many of you have experienced that firsthand. And so before we get into anything else today, we're going to take some time just to say thank you. To float her some love, appreciation, to float her some congratulations and excitement for whatever is next. And I'm going to turn it over to our M&P team, our ministry and personnel team. They look after all our staff, and they have some words of gratitude and celebration for Colleen. So I'm going to turn it over to them. But I'll say this, Colleen, I love you so much. It has been such a joy to work with you. Thank you for everything that you have done. And may you know that you'll be missed, and may you know that you are loved.
Hello, church family. Wouldn't it just be the best thing when we're all back together again in our church building? I cannot wait. It will feel very different when we are back with Colleen not being there, but on behalf of the church and especially M&P, we do wish her the most amazing chapters ahead of her. We know there's only great things to come. It has been my honor and privilege to serve as Colleen's ministry and personnel representative for the last several years, and I'm so grateful for the experience of having worked with her. I knew Colleen back in the early 90s at Midlands United Church when her daughters Dee and Becca were just tiny little girls, and Colleen has always been involved in the office, on the board, Sunday school, or In From the Cold, which she and her late husband Rob coordinated for several years. There and here, she has been undeniably invaluable throughout all that she has brought to her administrative management role. It has always been a really big job, and she has made it look relatively easy. For obvious reasons, we are unable to plan a befitting going away event for Colleen, but the board does have some gifts for her, and I know that she will be willing to share some photos of those gifts with you in the future. We can't show you because she hasn't seen them yet. When COVID-19 is under control and we can safely meet up again and gather, I look forward to having Colleen back for a proper send-off, complete with cake. Thank you, Colleen. It has been my pleasure to serve you over the past several years, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks, Jody. Doug here. I too have worked closely with Colleen over the years, usually around technical stuff. We've done databases together and bought computers together and figured out software together, and I've always been very impressed, especially being a software developer myself, how many times she has researched software on her own and figured out better, more efficient, cheaper ways to make sure that we have the tools that the office needs to run smoothly. And her attention to detail and her willingness to always dig in and try and improve every process that she touches is, I think, going to be what I remember and appreciate most of her. So as Jody said, Colleen, all the best. I'm totally jealous that you're heading for Kelowna, and well-deserved rest. Thank you so much for your many years of support and service. Deb, over to you.
Okay, Colleen, it's Deb Todd here. I'd just like to say on behalf of the M&P team, but mostly on behalf of myself, I'd really like to thank you for all the years of service that you've provided, first at Midlands and then at Red Deer Lake. It seems like I've known you forever, like Jody said, since the early 90s when your girls were just little and my kids were little. I'll really miss having conversations with you about what our kids are doing and where they're living and what they're up to. You've been the glue for so many years that have held the churches together. You've got your great administrative skills, kept me organized for the years that I was the board chair at Red Deer Lake. And thanks for that. Anyway, best of luck to you in your move to Kelowna. It's a new chapter of your life, and I'm sure it'll be really exciting. We'll miss you.
Hi there, Claude Master here. I'm new to this group and new to the church for the most part, and I worked with Colleen, of course, over the last couple of years. Mostly do actually with On the Edge concert series, and her attention to detail was amazing. It is amazing, and we look forward to do more of that on that front this year. I do represent Vi on this committee, and I'll keep up my good work for working with her, and Colleen, certainly good luck to myself. Carola?
Well, Carola Rattler here, and yes, to many of us in the congregation, and also so to me, Colleen was always the friendly face at the entrance, always calm and reliable. Most of all, she knows our church inside out, and therefore could always respond to any request quickly, focused, and most importantly, with empathy and understanding. Colleen will definitely be missed. However, I wish her lots of love and joy for the next chapter of her life, a place in the sun with her family. Next.
Hi, John Robertson here. Like Doug, I'm vastly jealous, Colleen, that you're moving out to Kelowna. It's a wonderful place. I've skied out there and summered out there as well. We wish you all the best, and I guess as chair of M&P, wishes you all the best. And as a board member, I'm going to steal the board's thunder and wish you all the best from the board. But most of all, thank you for all the help you've given me over the years, and you definitely will be missed.
You will.
Goodbye, Colleen.
Yeah. Bye, Colleen.
Bye. Away for
So
Deb.
long for now.
Hey friends, welcome to a Sunday service with Red Deer Lake United Church. My name is Nick, I am the minister here, and we are an affirming church that gratefully gathers on Treaty 7 land, and what we are all about is finding in the way of Jesus a new way being human and alive in this world. A way connected with God, each other, and ourselves. This way of life that is rooted in those amazing things like hope, joy, peace, love, community, diversity, justice, wonder, awe, curiosity, belonging. This way of life that transforms us so we can go out and transform the world, turning it into one where everybody has enough and everyone has a place. Yeah, that is who we are. That is what we are all about. And this is our Sunday service. This is where we do that one thing that we believe we need to do to be fully, truly, and wholly human. And that's take some time to connect to God, that source of life, that ground of our being, that mystery underneath it all, that sacred divine energy that holds it all together and moves it all forward. To take some time to be in authentic, affirming, and inclusive community, to be seen and heard and feel like we belong. And some time to go into ourselves, to let our bodies catch up with our spirits, to work on being whole. And through it all, find what we need to keep on going and keep on becoming the kinds of people that God calls us to be. People of light, love, and life. And so that is what we are here to do today. And whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever's going on in your life, whatever story you have, whatever you're bringing in with you, know this, know that you're welcome here. Know that there is room for you here. Know that you belong here. Know that we are so excited to have you with us as we do this. And may you know that you are welcome, wanted, and accepted in this place. And why don't we all just take some time to practice that by checking in. Take some time to find the comment box somewhere on your screen and let us know who you are. Let us know where you're from. Let us know how you are doing. Let's take some time to check in, because that is one of the beautiful things about doing these online services, right? We can actually have a commentary and a chat conversation throughout the whole service. It's such a cool way to engage as we try to connect with God, each other, and ourselves and do the work of church. And so make sure you do that. And we're going to jump into our service because we have an amazing service for you today. It's chock full of really good stuff. And our hope and prayer is that through it all, you leave us something good, something to chew on, something that gives you a bit of rest, maybe permission to put something down, maybe encouragement to pick something up. But whatever it is, we hope you leave here feeling good, a bit more alive than when you came in with, and ready to keep on going, growing, becoming, which is what it's all about, right? Yeah, it's all about transformation. It's all about moving deeper and deeper and deeper into the kind of life that Jesus opens up for us. So my friends, knowing that we are in the right place, knowing that this is a good place to be, knowing that we are welcome, wanted, and accepted here, and God is a God of extravagant and indiscriminate love who is with us and for us. Let's start with this. We're going to start with a meditation that will take us right into our first song. And may you use this to finish arriving. May you use this to choose to be here, to open up, to soften up, and let that spirit that makes all things new go to work. And so, my friends, as we begin our morning together, as always, may peace be with you.
Look up, love. Take your eyes off the ground. Show your face. A new day is here. The light is rising over you, shining brightly, moving shadows, touching your face. You are brilliant with it. Darkness may come and go, but the glory of our Creator is a constant companion, a steady light. Many will see you struggle to live, your choice to stand up and walk in the light and be changed. Have the courage to truly see not only the problems, but the one who remains with you holding the light. We are all coming together, family, neighbor, and exiles, taking our seats at the table. We are learning. We are healing. So, take the gift of this day you are given. Let the light enlighten you, emanate from within you, become you, be you. power is shifting, and it won't look like what we think when love reigns. Cities riddled with the wreckage of war and marked by the scars of empire will exchange the sounds of violence and ruin for the clamor of co-creation and communion. Through the power of God, the oppressed and those stripped of their land are allowed to share in power. We all will weigh in. Life will grow from the most unexpected places. The smallest and least will be welcomed into the center, and their perspective will matter. Not only will violence cease, we won't want to hurt one another, but cooperate for the goodness of all. The whole nature of creation will change. The sun and moon will not be the light we revolve around. We will turn and grow by the light of God that shows us the illumined way to go. We will be ruled by the power of love. We will be remade and refastened to God and one another. We will learn what harmony means. Look up, love. Take your eyes off the ground. Show your face. A new day is here. The light is rising over you, shining brightly, moving shadows, touching your face. You are brilliant with it. Everything wrong side up is being upended. The table is extending, rounding. You have a place that is only yours, and everyone at this table will have more than enough. So, stand up, open up, take it all in, and shine.
Spirit God, be our breath, be our song. Blow through us, bringing strength to move on. Our risings inward, defensive withdrawn. Spirit God, be our song. Patient God, soothe our pride, calm our fear.
So good, right? What a good way to start our service. Thank you to the music team for that song. And let's take that song's wisdom heart to heart, shall we? Why don't we now just take a big breath and have a prayer before we jump into the sermon? And so I invite you to put your feet on the floor. Seriously, follow along with me. Just put your feet on the floor, feel that connection to the ground. I invite you to kind of sit up or stand up straight, to close your eyes. And let's take a big breath in. In, 1, 2, 3, and hold it. And out, 1, 2, 3. And as we breathe in once again, may you know that we are breathing in that spirit that we call holy, that spirit of life, that spirit that energizes us into the rhythms and pulses of the Creator, into love itself, into justice and peace itself, into hope and joy itself. And God, as we breathe you in, help us be here. Help us to open up and soften up and welcome in this new day and this time together. Help us to know that we can belong here just as we are. And help us to leave here different. Maybe the tiniest bit different, but leave here different nonetheless. Ready to keep on going. Ready to keep on becoming, being the kinds of people that you call us to be, people of light, love, and life. And so God, may we feel you move in us and around us. May you do your thing. And we ask this in the liberating name of Christ by saying together, Amen. God be with you. So it is sermon time. This is the part of the service where, I talk a lot, but the point of this isn't so much to listen to me. It's not that kind of power dynamic. The point of these things, as we've talked about before, is for this to spark some wonder, to woo us into curiosity, to start some consequential conversations, to open up some windows, to let some air in, and see where that spirit can take us. And so throughout what we're about to do, if you kind of feel that nudge somewhere, follow it. Let it go to work. That's what this is all about. And so don't feel like you have to listen to what I say the whole time or agree with me the whole time. That's not really what this is about. That's not what we're asking for here. What this is about, rather, is the invitation to explore, to wonder, to get curious, to ask some big questions, and to go into some really important intersections in our faith, life, and spirituality. And today we're going to do all that through this really ancient story. It is in the Bible. I know, surprise, surprise. You can actually find it in 2 places within the New Testament. One in the Gospel according to Luke, and one in Acts of the Apostles. But the thing is, even though it's the same story, in both of those places, it's actually quite different. Yeah, it's different. That actually happens a lot in the Bible, these 2 stories, sometimes 3 stories, being in different parts of the Bible and actually being quite different. Like, similar enough where if you looked at them, you would recognize that it's the same story. But if you look at the details, you actually see, oh, they're quite different. Our attention is being drawn into different places. They're actually asking different questions. And what makes these 2 stories super interesting, these 2 same but different stories, written by the same dude. Yeah, written by the same guy. So I'm just going to let you chew on that one. I'm not even going to get into that. But the story that we are talking about is what we ever so creatively call the Ascension. It's a story about how, after telling the disciples that their job now is to go out and be witnesses to the ends of the earth, to go and show what Jesus taught them, what he lived by, to go and tell everyone else. Jesus blessed them, and then he ascended. He floated away. He went up into the heavens. He went up into that place where it was thought that God was and God lived. And we're told how the disciples stood there watching for God knows how long, just staring up into heaven, seeing to see if they can find out where Jesus went. And they did it for so long where an angel eventually had to come and say, hey, what are you guys looking up there for? Whoops. Sorry, I knocked something over and wonky things happened. But the angels, is that where we were? I think that's where we were. They came and basically said, like, get your butts moving. Why are you looking up? Why are you standing still? Why are you still here? Get going. Go that way. Go and do what Jesus told you to do. And that's the story. That's what we get to rumble with this day of the year. And to be honest, as famous a story is, as popular a story this is, we read the story every year. I've never really cared for it. I don't really like it. I mean, it's full of wonder and awe. Jesus literally floats away like a balloon. It's hilarious because the disciples are there looking up and an angel has to come and actually remind them to go and do what Jesus wants them to do. But despite all of that, I've never found the thing compelling. It's never hummed with a reverence for me. I've never really understood what this one story can tell us about what it means to be human and alive in this world, what it can do to help us live well and with purpose and intention and tap into that life that Jesus wants us to live. And a lot of that, I think, just comes to do with the fact that, like, it's super cartoony. Like, Jesus just kind of floats away like Mary Poppins, like a balloon, and he just vanishes into the sky. And it just seems like such a lazy exit, right? Like, that's the best you could come up with, that he just, like, floats away. Like you can get, like, a penny whistle as he flies away. And every time I see it, I just dismiss it. I'm like, I just can't. This is too lazy. It's dumb. Like, come on, guys. You can do better than this. But then this year, I'm about to dismiss it. And I hear the voice of one of my teachers kicks in. And I can hear her asking the question that she always asks when it comes to these Bible stories. And what she'd ask every single time is, what does it mean? What does it mean? Which is the question, right? That is the question that we have to ask of these stories. That's what we're supposed to be paying attention to. What we should be looking for is not so much what the story says, but what it means. Because it's in the meaning, that's where we find something that can tell us about what it means to be human. That's where we find something compelling. That's where we can find something that helps us live the way that Jesus wants us to live, that life that is full of hope, joy, peace, love, wonder, purpose, belonging, all those wonderful things, right? Yeah, what's it mean is the question we should always be asking. And so I'm going to take her advice, and I want us all to take her advice. And we're going to ask that question. What does the story of the ascension actually mean? Why does Jesus floating away, why is that something we should pay attention to? And I wonder if we can find the meaning by looking at the details. I wonder if those details have something to say to us. And it's one detail in particular that I think can unlock the whole thing. And that's the direction that Jesus is going. The direction that Jesus goes. Because where is he going? He's going up, right? He is going up. He's floating away up into the sky. And what's in the sky? What is up? Heaven. Yeah, heaven is up. And to a first century Middle Eastern Jew, up was where God lived. Up was the heavens. It was that place of wholeness, of peace, of love, of justice. Jesus was going up to be with God. And let's ask a second question about this one detail. Who was going up? Well, Jesus was going up. And who is Jesus? Now, there are all kinds of ways we can answer that, but let's use the way that Jesus used for himself. He called himself the human one. He was someone who we are to believe was fully and wholly human. He was the one who embodied all of our humanity, who experienced the heights and depths of it all, the one who shows us, who role models, who embodies exactly what it means to be human and alive in this world. Yeah, that's what Jesus would always call himself, the human one. And that's what he was referring to, that he is the epitome, the fullest expression of our humanity. Now, we can say all we want about these ideas. We can talk a lot about how back then there was this three-tiered understanding of the universe, that there was hell, earth, and heaven. This way of understanding the universe that we don't really buy into anymore. And we certainly can talk a lot about how there are other terms and names and titles for Christ. Christ being one of them, but also teacher, friend, guide, savior, Messiah. Yeah, we can talk about all of those. But let's roll with these two details for a moment. That Jesus was going up into heaven, and Jesus was, as he referred to himself, the human one. And I think those two details can unlock this whole thing. Because let's put them together and ask, what's going on here? Jesus is going up. The human one is going up into heaven. The human and the divine are coming together. Yeah. What the story is all about, what the ascension is all about, isn't simply that Jesus and God are coming back together. It's something way bigger and way deeper and way more beautiful than that. What this story is about a truth about the nature of us and the world that we live in, a truth about our universe, a truth that should and can and will shape everything. And that truth is this: that what we once thought was separate is together. What we thought are two are actually one. That there is no up and there is no down. There's only one. That is actually all together. That everything is holy. That everything is actually one. That everything does belong. That everything is holy. Yeah, everything is holy. Let's just sit with that. Let that sink in for a moment. Because this is so huge, so beautiful, so important, so transformative, so liberating, so everything. There is no up and there is no down. What we thought were separate are actually together. It's all one. Heaven and earth. It's all holy. It's all holy. I mean, if that isn't an everything-changing truth, I don't know what is. Because think about this. Let's unpack this and think about this for a quick, hot second. If there is no separation, if it is all one, if all of this and all of us are actually holy, as in good, as in full of value, dignity, and beauty, as in meant to be, as in belonging, as in sacred, as in loved, then how we view ourselves, how we view others, and how we view the world around us not only shifts, but the whole point of our existence shifts. Are you with me? Yeah, because how many of us, and I'm talking to myself here as much as I'm talking to all of you, how many of us sometimes look in the mirror and see something less than holy? Anyone do that? Anyone with me on there? I do that all the time. All the time. I see something less than. I see something bad. I see something shameful. I see something that makes me go gross. Yuck. Anyone else? Yeah. Yeah, I think we all do that. And how often have we used or seen others as other? How often have we othered someone? How often have we seen someone else as less than? Have we made them feel not to belong? How often have we seen someone in our neighborhoods and say, oh, you don't belong here. I'm not going to treat you the same way I would treat myself or I would treat my neighbor. Yeah, anyone do that? Yeah, I did it yesterday. Yeah, I think we do that a lot too. Or how many of us see the world, the earth, that is, as expendable, as a commodity, as in something that's not sacred, but something to be taken advantage of? Anyone? Yeah, we all do that. Every time we throw garbage on the ground, we do that. Every time we're not conscious about our ecological footprint, we do that. Yeah, we all do it. Or how about this one? How many of us have looked at the world around us, looked at all the structures and the systems, the policies and the procedures, and seen them as broken, corrupt, and unjust, but just shrug our shoulders and say, well, that's just kind of the way it is. That's just, human, so of course it's going to be broken. And so we not only tolerate it, we actually accept it. We make room for it. Anyone else? Yeah, I do it all the time too. All the time. I think all of us do. And there's no shame in admitting that. That's just kind of the wisdom and the culture that we live in. It's actually coming out of this other truth that we've been given. This truth that says there actually is a separation in our world. That there is an up and there is a down and there's a down. This truth that would tell us that we're not all one. That we're not all holy and sacred. That we're not all full of dignity, worth, beauty, and belonging. This truth that would offer this wisdom that would say, well, if that's the case, then divide away, exploit away, abuse away, put yourself first, because none of it's sacred and nothing really ultimately matters. Right? Yeah. That's how we end up with a world full of people who want to put their wants above other people's rights and needs. That's how we end up in a world just chock full of broken, corrupt, and unjust institutions and structures. That's how we end up with a climate crisis. It all rises out of this idea that it is all separate. That some people just don't matter. That some people just don't count. That some people and some things aren't holy. That it's meant to be broken because that's simply how it's always going to be. Yeah. And this is really why what we believe matters. This is why we talk so much about our beliefs every single week here at the church. This is why we talk about wisdom. This is why we look for the truth underneath the truth. That ancient, divine, reverent truth. Because it matters. Because our truths shape how we live and the world around us. And if we let this truth of the ascension in, this truth that everything is one, if we let that truth change everything, if we see it all as holy and sacred, then suddenly everything shifts, doesn't it? Suddenly we have a truth combating against that other truth. And we begin to see ourselves differently. We begin to see others differently. We begin to see the world around us differently. We begin to exist differently. Because no longer is it about keeping things apart, but rather it's about bringing things together. No longer is it about building higher fences, big walls, but it becomes about building big tables, right? Yeah. No longer can it be about tolerating and sustaining what is broken and corrupt, but it becomes about throwing them all out, tearing them all down, fixing them, healing them, repairing them. That's what the job becomes. It becomes about reclaiming what's good, what's sacred and holy. It's about bringing in all that's been kicked out. It's about holding accountable all that hurts us and all that causes injustice in the world. It's about restructuring and reordering everything until our world catches up with that truth that this story gives us. That it is all holy. That it all belongs. That it all is beautiful, good, and just. Are you with me? Yeah. That is the work. That's the job this truth calls us into. It's about letting that truth shape us and the world around us. Which brings us to a really huge question that I think this story raises. And I think if you are like me, which maybe you are, maybe this question has been kind of kicking around in the back of your head since the sermon started, or maybe even, for longer than that, ever since you first heard this story. And that question, of course, is, why did he leave? Why did Jesus leave in the first place? Because just hear me out. Hear me out. How much easier would it have been if Jesus just stuck around and fixed it all himself? Even though it didn't really go well the first time, I want to choose to believe that if Jesus stuck around and God literally showed up and said, hey guys, world, pay attention, it's got to be this way. Your structures, your systems, your politics, your policies, it's got to look like this. I want to choose to believe that we would all be like, oh, okay, fine. But just because it's you asking Jesus, right? Yeah. Why not do it that way? Why'd he leave? Why is it up to us? Why are we the ones who need to make sure that we are all one and that we live in a world that hums with holiness? Why'd he leave? It's a good question. I think it's one that deserves to be asked, because if we are going to believe in a God who's legit invested in us and our world, and we are going to affirm that God is a God of love, we kind of have to ask this. Why did you abandon us? Why did you leave? Why did you make us do it on our own? Right? Anyone else asking that question? Yeah, it's a question that's bothered me for a long time. And I like where one of my colleagues, Kevin Mackins, he's a minister out in Hamilton. I really like how he handles this question. And Kevin says it's because love wouldn't and couldn't have it any other way. He says it's because love couldn't and wouldn't have it any other way. See, for Jesus to stick around, for him not to float away like a balloon, for him to stick around and make that world of holiness happen, well, it'd be just yet another person using their power to force people to live a certain way. It'd just be yet another instance of someone using power to force and manipulate the world to look a certain way. And the problem with that is for everything to be one, for everyone to belong, for that life and world to actually happen. It can never happen that way because love doesn't look like that. Legit love, divine love, extravagant and indiscriminate love, the kind of love that we believe God is, it can't look like that. It can't work that way. Love can't be coercive. It can't be forced. It can't threaten. It doesn't work that way. You can't. And so Kevin wonders if Jesus left because he knew that the only way for that world to happen would be to let love do its thing. To let love slowly, intentionally, cooperatively, invitationally, graciously, and subversively to go and do its thing in and through us, because the only way Jesus knew to a life and world, it's got to be through love. It's got to be through love. You can only get there that way. Love's got to do its thing. And as hard as it might be for us to acknowledge that, as much as we might like to have it a different way, that's the way it needs to be. That's the only way we can get to a world of love. You can't force your way through love. You can't force your way into love. Anyone with a high school crush knows that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. The only way for us to get to that world is for us to do it on our own in and through love. Which of course raises another question, doesn't it? Well, how? How do we do that love? What does it look like? And I think Jesus gives us the answer already. I think Jesus says the answer right here in this story, right at the beginning, right when he tells the disciples to go and be witnesses to the ends of the earth. And now for us, when we hear that word witnesses, our minds probably go to think legal system. But back in Jesus' day, for his original audience, for those disciples, they would have thought something else. Because to them, to be a witness, it meant to be a storyteller. Someone who tells their story, who witnesses to their truth, to their experience, to what has happened to them, to why they are the person they are, why they think the things that they think, why they believe what they believe, and why they do what they do. And if I've learned anything about storytelling, it's that storytelling is all about wooing people into a new kind of life and a new kind of world. It's about non-coercively, non-confrontationally, in a way that's not threatening, woo people into experiencing new truths, into hearing new ideas, into considering new experiences, into entering into a completely new kind of life in a completely new world. All through the act of simply sharing our story. And I think that's what Jesus is saying we can do here. Is you want to build that life in that world? You want to acknowledge that everything is one? You want to create a world that hums with holiness? All you have to do is tell your story. All you have to do is be you. Which takes a huge amount of courage. Which takes a huge amount of vulnerability. But if you've heard a good story before, and you felt changed by it, you know that it works. You know that it does open the window or open the door and rearrange everything. You know that witnessing, that telling your story, that practicing the woo, you know it can actually change lives and change the world. Every movement that's actually gone somewhere has all started with a story. It always starts with one person sharing their story, and the rest, it just takes place from there because love happens. Because love goes to work. It begins to happen and everything begins to change. And so our job is to be storytellers. Our job is to be people who practices the woo, who woo our lives, who woo our world into a completely new way of being ordered, of being structured, a completely different kind of place, a place that hums with reverence. And so as we try to land this thing and finish up, I'll leave you with this. How can you share your story this week? How can you practice the woo? How can you begin to repair and restore the universe by being a witness? By being someone who simply shares their story courageously and vulnerably, to be someone who woos a new kind of world, a new kind of life into existence. And as you do that, may you have the courage and the vulnerability to tell your story. May you know that your story matters, that it will make a difference. And it's through us simply being ourselves, simply by giving voice to everything that we have experienced and everything that we think and dream about, it's through that. It's through that act of love that we can make happen a whole new kind of world. A world that hums with reverence, a world where everyone has enough and everyone has a place. So my friends, may you tell your stories boldly. May you go in grace and peace. And to that we all say, Amen. All right, friends, before we finish up for the morning, we're going to take some time to say some prayers. But before we get into that, let's remember something if we could. And this is something we try to name a lot here at Red Deer Lake. This is something that I hold really dear. And I think it's a really important truth that we all need to remember whenever we come into moments and times where we're supposed to connect with God, each other, and ourselves, what we here in the church call worship. And that's this. There's no right or wrong way to do this. There's no right or wrong way to do this. So often when it comes to church stuff, we get the perception that it's supposed to be this way. When it comes to worship, you're supposed to sing. When it comes to the sermon, you're supposed to say, I agree with everything you just said. When it comes to things like prayer, we're supposed to be still, be silent, bow our heads, and close our eyes, and that's how you do it. But the truth is, none of that's really true. When it comes to engaging God through music, when it comes to engaging conversations about God, when it comes to prayer, what's most important is that you do you. Is that you show up and participate in the ways that you can show up and participate. And that's going to be different for everybody. And as an affirming church, as a church that tries to make safe and brave space for everybody, I want to encourage you to kind of enter into this prayer time however you need to enter into it. If you pray by walking around, if you connect to God and talk to God by walking around, cool, walk around. If you need to lay down on the floor and pray that way, cool, do it up. If you just need to sit and close your eyes and bow your heads, if that works for you, that is cool too. But all that to say is do whatever you have to do to be here, to open up, to soften up, to let that spirit in and open yourself up so she can go to work. Do you. Always do you. And so with that bit of wisdom and truth in mind, let's head into our prayers. And so my friends, I invite you to do whatever you do. And let's pray together. So God, who makes all things whole, we come to you now with our prayers. We take some time to open up and let you in, and offer to you everything that's going on in us and around us, everything that we are carrying, everything that we're holding, everything that's taking up space within us and around us. Things like our celebrations, our gratitudes, our laments, and our fears. And so, Spirit, as we name them all, may you hear them, may you feel them. All these things as valid, legit, and important as the next. And as we offer them to you, may you help us find some peace, healing, and hope. Beyond them, but also within them. In mystery, we take a chance now to offer to you our gratitudes, our joys, and our celebrations. We give thanks for science, for medical staff and leaders, for vaccinations, for people getting vaccinations, for the relief, hope, and joy that all brings. We give thanks for the things that ground us, that encourage us, that make us whole. Those things like music and food, phone calls, good neighbors, sunny days, books, and all the practices and routines that bring us life. We give thanks for our teachers, for our parents, for the grandparents, for all those people who work so tirelessly to build up and lift up our kids. And God, for all the things that bring us life, that bring us joy, for those things that we are celebrating and giving thanks for, we take some time to name them. For each one saying thank you, thank you, thank you. So God, help us not take those things for granted, but help us to see them as the gifts that they are. And may we be generous with them. May we pass them on. May we make sure that everyone else can experience the joy as well. But we also know, we also feel that everything is not okay. We know that life for us and for so many people is hard, is full, is exhausting. And we take some time now to offer our laments and our fears to you. Because God, we lament the fearful, selfish entitlement we see too much of. And we lament that we aren't seeing one another as one another's responsibility. We lament the deaths and chaos in places like India. We lament the violence in and against Palestinians, and we lament that violence is still the way we aim to solve our problems. We lament that we're still here in this in-between space. We lament the resentment, the anger, and the exhaustion that we are feeling. For all these things, for all that's weighing us down, for all that is breaking us apart, we take some time now to say, help us, help us, help us. And so, Creator, these are our prayers. This is the stuff that's going on within us. These are the things that we need to name and voice. We ask that you hear them. And we ask that you move. May you make us and our world whole. May we experience even just the tiniest amount of peace, comfort, joy, and hope. Let us know that things are going to be okay. But God, we also know that you do that through us, that we are the ones who you call to make this world holy. That is that work that Jesus calls us to do. And so we end our prayer asking for the strength to do that, to live out the truth that everything is one, to have the courage to share our stories and to listen to each other's stories, for the strength to believe that another world is possible and to make that world happen right here, right now. And it's with that conviction in mind, it's with that identity and purpose in mind, that we remember the prayer that Jesus taught us to pray, and we sing it together.
Our Mother who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive them that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, forever and ever.
All right, my friends, that is everything for this week. Thank you so much for doing this with us. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking some time out of your days to connect with God, each other, and us. Our hope and our prayer, as we said at the beginning, is that you leave here different. That you leave here a bit more alive than when you showed up, a bit more full of hope, joy, peace, and love. And as you do head out into what is ever next, a few things to remind you of. Don't forget that right away after this service is over, we're going to go on Zoom for a time to keep these conversations going, for a chance to be in an affirming community. And so if you are looking for that, even if you are brand new, even if you've never joined us, may you know that you are welcome, wanted, and accepted there. We'd love for you to join us on Zoom. The link is in the description below. And don't forget also that later on today, around 12 noon, our town hall info video is going to drop right here on YouTube. And this is the precursor to what is going to go down on Wednesday at 7 o'clock on Zoom. Again, links below. And that is on Wednesday. It's going to be a bit more of a conversation where you can ask some questions about, hey, what's been going on behind the scenes? Where are we going? What kind of work are we doing as a church to get ready for this new world we're going to enter into? And so, just to recap all that, because I did it out of order, noon, town hall info video, a time to hear some gratitudes and celebrations and a bit of a financial update. And then Wednesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time, on the link below on Zoom, a chance to meet face to face, to ask questions and come together as a church community as we get ready to head into a post-pandemic world. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, lots of prayers to that. And finally, if you're loving what we're doing, if you are picking up what we are putting down, if you believe in our mission of offering people hope, meaning, purpose, and connection, we would love for you to support our work. It makes such a big difference and helps us do the work that we are doing, like delivering care packages to 100 people a month, to making sure that people who are alone and isolated feel connected, to offering people some wisdom to navigate through all the things that we are experiencing and feeling. If that means something to you, click the link below and donate to our church. Every little bit helps and it is all appreciated. But for now, my friends, thank you so much for being here, and let's end with a blessing. So get ready to receive this good word to take with you wherever you go. And so my friends, as you head out from this place, may you hold on to the truth that everything is one. That everyone and everything belongs. That there is no up and there is no down, but it is all together. There is no separation. And as you hold on to that truth, may you live like it. May it shape everything that you are, all that you do, and all that you say. And may you go from here and be people of the womb. People who tell their stories boldly, who witness to the love that they have experienced. And through all of that, may you be a part of making this world a brand new place. A world of love, peace, justice, a world of holiness. And so my friends, may you go in love, may you go in peace, may you go and do it loudly. We love you, we miss you, we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.